Hi, this is Dorothy Smith again. I am going to make another spin card because there were some parts of the instructions that I didn't really get. I'm more of a visual person, so when somebody says to attach the front of to the back to the front of the something or other, that just kind of blows me away. So one thing I did discuss yesterday was that there were, I used 6 places, and this shows 8 pieces of pie here. But in actuality, the die cut only has 6 notches. So you only can, unless you want to do math and figure out the 8. But these little, can you see that? If I can get the light on it right. There's just 6 little notches here that makes little dents on the paper. So this shows 8, but this is 6, and it actually says 6 small notches. So that's kind of confusing. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and make another card doing things the correct way. So, first thing I'm going to do is try to pick this up and put the white cardstock on top of this. Is the front of the spinner card. Oh, the noises it makes. That just means it's cutting. Doesn't mean it's breaking. Okay, so here is piece 1 with the little window out. Okay, set that aside. And this is the disc that frees the spinner on both sides, and I only made 1. So I'm going to show you the real way it's supposed to be done. And that is to make 2 of these, one for the front and one for the back. And this is actually going to make the placement of the spinner on the card front easier. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm making my spinner in lemonade. Close to my heart's version of yellow. A nice bright sunny yellow. Okay, there's the spinner. Okay, I'll make my pencil lines on that in a second. There's one of these. Now I'm going to cut another one. Whoops, wrong way, Dorothy. Here's the other. And this does such a good job that even this little tiny hole there gets cut out easily. Okay, and I will set all of those pieces aside. And I'll set this aside. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, which is what I did yesterday, is these are hard for me to find. So here's one. You just have to get the light on it, just so you can see where the little notch is. And then just make a little pencil mark, because it's not going to make any difference. Nobody's going to see this part of the card. So now that I've got my lines and I've got six spots there for the notches, I'm going to connect through the center and just make a very light line, because that's going to get erased. But it's just so that you can put your words in place. So now you can see where your words go. And I'm going to use the same stamp. So I'm going to make a rainbow, but I'm going to do the rainbow the way they have it. I'm not going to get crazy with it. So let's see. I'm going to put, this is going to be a birthday card, so it's going to be wishing you a, let's see, happy and special and beautiful birthday. You could have colorful or sunny, but I think I'm going to have beautiful. So okay, I'm getting ready to stamp all my little words, and I'm going to stamp them in nectarine. And that will be a, fairly good contrast between on the yellow, on the lemonade. And I'm just going to do a kind of a trial run to see how it looks. And you can read it easily, so no problem. So here comes the nectarine, and put my little spin disc on my little foam pad, and the first word I stamp is happy. And then the next word is going to be special. And the next word is going to be beautiful. And if they don't fit crosswise on a stamp, I put them diagonally. Because you really want to have the smallest block so that there's less way of picking up ink on the edges of the block. And so the next thing I'm going to do is to stamp my little arrows, my little spin me arrows. And so the way I'm going to do that is to put the front of the card and then put the spin disc behind it. And first thing I'm going to do is erase the lines, because I don't know where the little arrows are going to fit according to the lines. They were there just, if you remember, just so I can center the word in between the pie-shaped lines. So this little rubber eraser works perfectly for that. It also removes glue quite effectively. So there I've got my happy lined up. And I'm just going to hold it in place and then ink up my little arrow stamp. And ta-da! So I'm just going to go around to all three words and do the same thing, so that my little arrows are showing when there's a word, so you know to spin it around. There we go. Cute little arrow. So the next thing you want to do is kind of set your spin stuff aside, and any of the stamping that you need to do on your front card piece needs to be done now before you put your spinner together. And what I'm doing is I'm starting off with the center arch of the rainbow, and it's going to be done in the lemonade. And you start off with the center arch for a very specific reason. I'm just going to make sure I'm going to get a good impression here. And it's looking pretty good. So there's a notch in the upper part of the archway there, if you see. So it's easier actually for me to turn the card upside down so I can get a better view of what I'm seeing. And I'm just fitting the nook of the niche of the middle arch up below the window. So my last arch, the smaller of the arches, is going to go underneath the yellow. And so that's another good reason to start off in the middle, because then you can go to the smaller and then the larger arches, and you know that you've got your rainbow centered under the window. So the smaller of the arch is going to be done in Glacier, which, you know, is really one of my favorite colors. Boy, is it a pretty color. We've had it for a very long time, and I hope we keep it for a long time. Anyway, you just kind of want to snug that arch up in the middle arch there. And then the next ones are the outside arches. So I'm going to do these in the nectarine. And those are also going to get snugged up close to the yellow arch. So I want it to come off of the end of the window and be just about on the line of the yellow arch, and then I'll put my other one on. And it's starting to shape up here. So once again, at the beginning of the window, snugged up to the edge of the yellow, and there we go. It came out looking pretty, and I like the colors together. So the next thing I'm going to do is do some more stamping. And they have this cute little, there's a lot of tiny little stamps on this stamp set. And look at that adorable little sun. So that sun is going up there. I don't care if you're not supposed to have more than one sun. I'm putting it up there a few times because it's so cute. So the next one that's on there is this just, well, I guess what I'm going to do is put wishing you a. And I'm putting it diagonally on there so it'll fit on the 2x2 block. And it's going to be in blue, and that's going to be a nice composition of colors over the rainbow. So you can see at the ends of each side of the rainbow, there is a definite shape to it. And it turns out, which I didn't realize when I was using the markers on the rainbow, is that it just kind of fits the way that the shape of the clouds. And so I've used the stamps to make sure that I was giving plenty of space to the stamps before I put birthday down, because I didn't want to do birthday and then the clouds are all off in covering up the stamp. That would not be good. So that's why I used the stamps as kind of a means of helping me place it. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp the little clouds in the Glacier. and cut them out, and they will get popped up with some foam pieces, double stick foam. And I start cutting with a little white on the outside edge because that's normally how I do my fussy cutting. But then I kind of decide, no, just go down to the line. And that way I can fill in any of the white edges with the glacier to kind of bring the color all the way out. I just don't know why I decided to do that. I just decided to do that. So anyway, I'm just using the stamp pad as a means of coloring the very edge of the little clouds. So, and I'm even getting the edge of the paper. So, and it's intensifying the color on the edge of the cloud, which I like the way that looks. And if you notice, there's the shape to the cloud will actually has a very specific area that it fits into over the rainbow. So you want to make sure you kind of match up the puzzle pieces there. So these little clouds are cute. There's 3 dots on the stamp set also, and those are going to be my pretend raindrops that I'm gonna stamp in the on the edges of the cloud a little bit later on. So I'm going to go ahead and put I'm using the thin foam dot, so it's just raised up a little bit. I'm kind of holding off on using the thicker foam dots, though that's definitely going to be used for the spinner part when I start assembling that. So removing the little end pieces, and you can kind of see that the little poofs of the clouds kind of goes in a certain way. And I'm trying to make sure that I've got it that way. There we go. And where's my little dots? So those are going to be like little raindrops. That's my thought, and I'm sticking to. Okay, here's some more little raindrops in the other cloud, and just adds a little something. And then this thing is so cute. And I'm doing it in the nectarine, and it's a cute little smiley face. My goodness. That could even go on the clouds, actually. It's so cute. It's just adorable. So, and the other thing that I like are there's little tiny hearts, and I use those for a well, my little hearts disappeared. Not exactly sure what happened, but anyway, I put my hearts by my little smiley faces. So this cute little piece of paper with the nectarine flowers on it is from our mix-in papers. And so I made a cut that's 5.5 by 4.25, and that is going to be my background on the front of the card. And I'm just kind of preparing to put the card together. And the first thing I'm going to do is now assemble my spinner. So the first time I did it, I just used one of the discs, and this time I'm using 2. And I think it's, they say that you should use 2. I think it's to make the spinner just more movable. And you can also, on the front little disc, is where you're going to glue it to the back of the front of the card. If you remember, that confused me. So this way, the card and the spinner become one piece, but the spinner is able to spin, and placing the whole front mechanism down on the background of the card on top of the flowers makes it much easier. So first I'm putting the discs on the front small disc, and then I'm putting the foam pop-up darts that are thick on the corners of the front of the card. So now I've got to kind of do my placement, make sure my placement is right before I stick it in place on the back of the front of the card. So there we go. And so now you see that it works independent, and we've got all the mechanism together. And so now I'm going to take the protective covering off of the thick foam dots, and this allows me to center. See, in those empty places, you could put some of those little smiley faces, and that would be just too cute for words. I could still do that. So now it's much easier to center the spinner on top of the card. And there we go. And there's my card. And so I just need to put a sentiment on the inside of the card, and it's ready to go. But I think this is an easier way to do the spinner than the way I did yesterday, which is with my husband's plain card. And I hope you're inclined to make a spinner card also, because they're really fun and not especially hard to do. This is my third one, so I'm becoming almost an old pro. Mostly I'm just getting older. I won't ever say I'm a pro. So I'm just old in doing this. Okay, so anyway, I like it. I like my color combination, and I'm just going to scoot everything away so we can get a nice close-up of the card and the colors. And there we go. I hope you subscribe to my channel, and all the information on purchasing any of this to make your spinner card will be below my video. And feel free to make a comment. Thank you so much. Bye now.